Okay, guys, Man Cake here, coming at you with another video here on Saturday night. Um, the video today is mainly reviewing yesterday's State of the League address from Don Garber. Um, Obviously, it was a big, especially me being an FCC fan, after the excitement of this expansion. Some tidbits came out of this. I didn't think any breaking news about MLS expansion would come out for this review or for this press conference. But the one thing I thought would have been good news happened. He basically implied, for those who don't know, they're going to add a Miami team owned by David Beckham. It was in his contract when he played for MLS. They're going to add a Miami team in 2019. Now, this has been 3 or 4 years that they've been having trouble finding a stadium, finding other things to forward this. They still don't have a stadium. And stuff like that. They're basically not ready to start. So there was a guy at the press conference that basically posed the question, and it's something that I've said from the beginning on FCC groups, and they basically, some people said it was like, I don't think that'll happen, but basically they're adding 4 expansion teams and Miami by 2024. And we're going to add Miami in 2019, and then add 2 2020, and then 2 more in 2024. Having 5 more teams by 2024. Basically, they're obviously doing the expansion process right now. Miami is not ready yet, and they are normally they know when a team's going to add. They normally know when a team's going to come into MLS like 2 years in advance. I think Atlanta, Minnesota, they all knew several years in advance. We just ended the 2017 season. We're just going to start 2018 season, and Miami is supposed to come in 2019, and they still have no idea what they're doing. So, the guy posed, they're going to accept 2 of these 4 teams, Cincinnati, Sacramento, Nashville, Detroit. They basically asked, are they going to take 3 of those 4? Basically, one of these 4 are going to take Miami's slot, and then they'll take the 2 for 2020. So that one of these 4 teams will start in 2019. 2 more of these teams will start in 2020. So they'll take 3 of the 4 teams, and then they'll either drop Miami back to 2020 or 2022. And obviously, FCC is probably the most ready soccer franchise. I mean, FCC and Sacramento are the 2 teams that are ready right now. They have a proven fan base. They've had success on the field, off the field. I mean, Sacramento's won a USL Cup, so their success has been USL related. We went to the Final Four of the US Open Cup against MLS teams. So both teams have had success on the field. They've just been in different ways. But so it's going to be, to me, that I was about 95% sure we were going to get a bid anyway, just taking the top 2. I think the decision to give one of these teams a 2019, which they'll probably decide all this on Thursday. But if they move one of these 4 teams up to replace Miami, then that guarantees, because we are in the top 3 of these 4 expansion bids. I am confident in saying that we are in the top 3. I mean, Garber was really nice to Detroit in the press conference. I think he has to be. He's not going to say they're not going to get a bid. I think they were out of it as soon as they stayed at Ford Field. I think the fact that Detroit was a fourth finalist anyway, they went to the final, I think to me speaks more about the lack of the other bids that were there, the other 12 bids. Because I did hear articles that there was a lot of bids dropping. I'm surprised, I didn't read in the specifics, I'm surprised Tampa Bay didn't become a finalist, really. I mean, I know Tampa Bay used to be in the MLS and they folded. I don't know if that's a factor. But basically, a reporter asked him about that thing, about moving the team up to Miami. And like I said, I think either us or Sacramento will get that bump up. And that's huge. That's MLS soccer in 2019. I mean, think about it. I mean, I don't know. I know Sacramento's been around longer than us. But soccer in Cincinnati, we had the Cincinnati Saints, but they were like in the SPDL. They were like a 4th-tier team. It wasn't the same. We have not had top tier soccer, and Cincinnati wasn't even a thing in 2015. It's like 2-3 years ago, and 3-4 years later, it's going to be in MLS. That still blows my mind. They asked about that. Obviously, the biggest issue at the press conference was the Save the Crew, about Don Garber and or Anthony Precourt, however you want to look at it, basically going to move the Crew to Austin. Obviously, the Crew fans and all that. I watched a documentary. Some local guy made it. It's not on TV. It's on YouTube. It's very accessible. I actually have it on my I posted it on my Twitter account. I forget off the top of my head. I forget what it is called. He's a local, like a film guy from Columbus. It's a very good documentary. I even learned some stuff that I wasn't sure. I didn't know they played at Ohio State's football stadium. So they made a documentary on it. The documentary is really good. Alexi Elias is in it. Some big names. So some big names are in it. But yeah, that was the main issue of the press conference. And like I said, I'm probably going to make another video on just Save the Crew. Basically, I mean, he got a lot of heat. He had a lot of heat before this State of the League address, and he got killed by Crew fans. And like I said, Don Garber, he's in a lose-lose situation. There's nothing Don Garber can say other than the Crew is not moving, and then they're going to be mad. So there's nothing Don Garber can say to not get hate at this point. Like I said, I feel for Crew fans. I think this is getting kind of blown out of deal. I think it's a lot more because it kind of goes against soccer culture. This thing happens in other big sports. And, I mean, it's not fun. It's not something that's easy. I mean, people are like, yeah, we get to move. No, it's awkward. It's really shitty for the fan base that loses the team. But it happens in other sports in this country all the time, and it's not like, I mean, you would think that Don Garber is Satan. And like I said, teams in NHL's moved, and I don't hear the same backlash with Gary Bettman or Roger. I mean, okay, I guess everyone hates Roger Goodell, but I don't feel the backlash with owners like this team. They've moved one team in their whole history. So it's not like this is like no owner or no commissioner wants to move a team. And like I said, the things that Anthony Precourt did, which I'll get into another video about the Save the Crew, even what Anthony Precourt did, now it was shitty, it was a douchebag move, but the Hunts were stupid enough to sell him the Crew. So he has ownership of the team. So that's what I'm saying. I must be literal. The whole Save the Crew thing is nice. And like I said, I would love FCC to play the Crew. Like I said before, we're rivals with Louisville City right now in the USL, and I've never really cared about that. I'm more of a Crew guy. And if they're not there, it'll probably end up being the Chicago Fire as our main rival. But my always thing is I've never heard the Hunts mentioned at all. Like, why did you do not let someone buy your team and not know that there's a clause to move the team to Austin? They knew they were going to move the team to Austin. They just didn't care. And I was confused at first because, like I said, I'm a brand new soccer fan, so I had to look all this up. I guess just assumed the Hunts were like from here, and they're not. That's why they didn't care. They're not even from Ohio. They owned this team originally when the league was founded, but they're not like our owner, Carl Linder, is from Cincinnati. He's from here locally. He has a emotional investment in this city. He would never, or if there was a scenario where for some reason he'd have to sell the team, he would make sure it's going to either another local person or another person that wants to leave in Cincinnati. He's not just going to drop it off to somebody from California and give them the team. So Precourt, he probably wanted to move the team. He probably wanted a discount on expansion. And he's like, I can buy this team and then just move them. And that's a douche move. You're always going to be known as the guy who moved the Crew. But it's legal. Like, he bought the team legally. the team he bought the team from was stupid enough to give him a clause to move the team. They signed it anyway and gave him the team. And, I mean, it's a douche move. And like I said, it sucks for Crew fans. Like I said, I'm from here, so I've tried to get into soccer and MLS a couple times, so the Crew used to be my only option. But I just couldn't get invested into the Crew. In 2015, when they were in the MLS Cup, I mean, I was trying to be a fan, but I barely watched the game. And like I said, if you're not watching your team in a cup, like, you're not a fan. I just couldn't get emotionally invested. I don't know what it was, and I just kind of didn't have a team. And then FCC started, and I associate myself more with Cincinnati than Columbus anyway in pro sports. Went to a live game. I'm hooked. So yeah, I'll make a whole other, actually I kind of already went into a little bit, but I'll make another video about the Save the Crew. This was mainly just about the state of the league address he had yesterday. It was basically Save the Crew and expansion. He went into like a typed speech, prepared speech to start it, and of course he talked about the MLS Cup and and all the season and what they've done in all this season, how it's been a really good season that it has. Then he went to like Toronto, best season, which this is after the Cup. Toronto won the MLS Cup. I believe it was 2-0 against the Sounders. But yeah, he had a prepared speech, and then after that, it was open to questions, and the rest of the time was just questions. Then it was basically Save the Crew and expansion, and nobody really wanted to talk about the MLS Cup. But yeah, so I didn't expect breaking news coming out of there. It was probably just going to be like generic, vague stuff. He did mention, talking about the Crew, throwing the Crew under the bus, of course. He mentioned how he was amazed at the fact that Cincinnati has such good attendance, and we're only like 100 and some miles apart. And, I mean, some of that is tickets. Our tickets are cheaper than the Crew's. It's not, I don't think it's a make or break thing. I think if we had Crew's prices, we'd still have more people in the stands as they do. But he basically used us to diss the Crew, which it was a little awkward. Like I said, most FCC fans, they don't like the Crew. They didn't like Crew before this, and they don't like the Crew as far as on the field, but they don't want to see the Crew leave. So I think a lot of FCC fans I saw on Twitter were really uncomfortable with that. He basically said, he was talking about business metrics, and he used that, and then he's like, there's this team 100 and some miles away, Cincinnati, that does better, 20-some thousand better in the second division. I was like, oh, God. But, yeah, he used Cincinnati, basically talking about them in attendance. So he basically, they mentioned expansion. Cincinnati was the only team he mentioned by name, just because he was comparing them to Columbus when they brought up the Crew. So basically it was expansion and Save the Crew, and that was it. So basically, I mean, he's still getting shit, but at this point, he's going to get shit regardless. And, yeah, so I guess that's it. Let me know if you watched it. It's on YouTube, if you can watch it, and on the MLS's YouTube. But let me know what you thought about the State of the League address, and then probably not tonight, but tomorrow or the next day. Here soon I'll do a video on Save the Crew, and I'll review the DVD, or not DVD, the documentary. It's on, you can search Save the Crew. If you go to YouTube and search Save the Crew, it's one of the first 5 results. It has some guy painted. It's a painted, he doesn't have a shirt on. It's a painted yellow shirt, and it says Save the Crew. It's about a little over an hour long. It was a pretty good documentary. But I'll probably review that documentary and then do a video on the Save the Crew topic. And then, yeah, that'll be it. And then, like I said, the governor's meeting, or all the owners are meeting on Thursday. And then they basically said Thursday, which is the 14th, anywhere between the 14th and the 20th, they should decide the 2 expansions. And then, like I said, if they're going to do that thing about moving Miami back and moving somebody in the place of Miami, that what I would think would be the day they would do it, because these other two teams they're announcing are the 2020. This is a year sooner, so they would need to know what the 2019 team is. But yeah, So I'll keep you guys updated. Obviously, it's off season now, so it's a little slow. With now MLS over, we are now officially in the American soccer off season. But I'll keep making videos, and I guess that's it. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.